I guess this means I've lived to play another inning. La 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 la. They tried to slap that look right off my face, but I'm still grinning. And the money ain't run out yet, so I do believe I'm winning. For all the mess I was, am and will be continuing. The fun is only beginning. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la.
Hello and welcome to Don't Bury the Lead. We recap WWE SmackDown every Saturday night. My name's John Zindel. I'm joined by Dom Scarcella. Dom, go ahead and tell the people a little bit about yourself.
John, it's our first Don't Bury the Lead live stream of summer in the Northern Hemisphere or winter in the Southern Hemisphere for the year. So was this WWE SmackDown from June 20th hot or cold? Don't bury the lead, John. What's our top story from this show?
Dom, we don't ever bury the lead. And the lead is the main event. We have John Cena versus R-Truth, Ron Killings, for the title. And they have a quick little, match. Ron Killings has the advantage. And CM Punk grabs the title, walks out with it, and the whole match gets thrown out. Once the match gets thrown out, we hear CM Punk's music hit. CM Punk and John Cena go at it in the ring. Cena AAs him through a Slim Jim table, and he shoots one of the better promos I've seen in quite some time. A little bit kind of, a tongue-in-cheek hint toward the pipe bomb of CM Punk, and I have to say, it was fantastic. He absolutely destroyed him in many aspects and also kept true to his heel, snarky character that he's developed. Dom, pretty entertaining main event from my perspective. What'd you think of this match and talking segment?
It's falling into a pattern for me where it's a not good John Cena wrestling segment and then a pretty good John Cena talking segment. So he's really, going to the extremes here. It was a carryover from what they had done on Raw. I saw video clips of it where, they were bringing it up to each other that one of them, or if it's just a previous something or other, where they're noting how they've reversed roles. CM Punk is now, the guy that people cheer. He's doing the right things.
What up,
Good morning,
Fixer?
Fixer. And John Cena is now just the jerk.
Mm-hmm.
And Cena is really good in this role. The match only goes about 5 minutes or so before John Cena walks off with the belt. Ron Killings follows him up the ramp. Headshot with the belt. That brings out CM Punk. They fight back into the ring. The low blow, more belt shots. And you're talking about the attitude adjustment on Punk through the table. And then, of course, Punk has to lie there motionless for like 12, 13 minutes. I mean, he lied there motionless so long, I thought it was a fatal four-way. But
I know.
but Cena did deliver a good promo. Good build to their match. I mean, they're really putting a lot on this premium live event match that's coming up a week from tonight. So this is what they have to do with Cena. They've got to build so many things so quickly. Like the Randy Orton thing had to be built very quickly. The Ron Killings thing, R-Truth, had to be built very quickly. Now the Punk thing has to be built very quickly. It's not like there's just one long storyline going. No, he's got to have like several month to month and a half storylines going at a time.
Yeah.
Or like one right after the other.
I want to talk a little bit about what you said earlier.
Okay.
And I think you nailed it. Whereas like you get a good Cena promo, it's a shame he can't wrestle. It's like he's doing the things that you wanted to happen a decade ago to really make him the new unique character that he could potentially be, and have that like Hogan did back in the day. But when Hogan did it, he could still work and he still looked great. And Cena is just on the back 9 here. I mean, hell, probably the back 18. He's in the 18th hole of 18, not even the back 9. But yeah, so I totally agree with that assessment. But I do have to say, the promo, I loved it. So
Call spots from the promo then, since there's not really spots to call out from the match.
yeah, I kind of freaked out and wrote a bunch. So, talking about Claudio Castellanos, or Claudio, who used to be Cesaro, really, in WWE, but calling them by their new names in AEW.
Claudio Castagnoli, yep.
Yeah, and then Nick Nemeth, his name in TNA. Matt Cardona, that's his name in GCW. Instead of Zack Ryder, I thought that was like a nice little. Oh, this is like he's really. It sounds real because he's using their names in other companies, or it sounds like a little dirty, right?
That's a callback to the Punk pipe bomb, right? He shouted out Colt Cabana.
Yeah, and 5 mic moves of doom was hilarious.
Yes!
5 mic moves of doom, because he is kind of repeating himself, CM Punk. Like, he's just the rebellious guy, and then he comes out, and it feels like the same promo over and over again. The crowd loves it, and they love the theme song. They love singing along to him. He's over. I'm not going to trash him for that. He had a great rivalry with Drew McIntyre, but it was nice to see him get put in his place a little bit and call him the 5 mic moves of doom.
Shows some self-awareness on Cena's part as well, because that was the criticism of him. So he's kind of taking the criticism of himself and in a sense giving it a nod and just applying it to CM Punk's promos.
You change your values like I change my T-shirts.
Ha! Again.
That was a deep cut, because he has lots of opinions all the time that range all over the place. Because CM Punk is really understands the new world, the internet world. And because he understands the internet world, he has always made himself a controversial figure as a result of the stuff that he's saying. And it's all over the place. Like, if you go over the years, he's all over the place. He's not a really principled person. He's just, so I love that. And then he called him Mr. TKO. He said, you're supposed to be the voice of the people. You're a millionaire.
Yes.
And he called him a capitalist. Which was so all this stuff for me.
Which is exactly what you would expect an agent of the Chinese Communist Party to say.
Oh, yes, you're right. He uses capitalist as an insult. Oh, John Cena is here. I love it.
I like how towards the end, Cena says to him, he keeps ragging on him for calling himself the best in the world. How CM Punk, that's his line. He says, "You were the best in the world for 7 minutes, 14 years ago."
He really brought it home with that line, because that was, that's a line. That was a bar, as the kids say. I was like, yeah. He was the best in the world for 7 minutes, 14 years ago. And it's
like, find the lie in the Cena promo. Find the lie.
Tell me when he's telling lies. And he says, I've been the greatest for 25 years. What have you done since that promo? I was like, yeah, he did go away for a very, very long time.
Went to commentary, then went to another company, got kicked out of that other company, and
right.
Came back here under the Triple H, the Paul Levesque era.
Yeah. Fixer's got a good one here. So I kind of went on and on about the promo. I liked it a lot. Are you getting bored of seeing Cena use the belt to win his matches?
Um, it's becoming his thing, right? It's Triple H's sledgehammer. It's a lot of it's a gimmick and it's a crutch.
It's a big time crutch for where he's
And
at.
the low blow.
The low blow, and the low blow doesn't even. It never even looks that vicious.
No.
It looks so weird to see him kicking now like crazy.
Yeah.
Um,
Nut shot, cranium shot. That's the Cena 2 moves of doom now.
it's wild because I feel like Flair, when he was on his way out and he was an old man in WWE, even TNA, I don't remember him looking this old, like Cena
Right.
old. And Cena's so insane because he has this visual. He's a physical specimen. And then you just start seeing him move and you're like, whoa, there's something just like not going on right anymore, you know?
Sometimes the extra bulk does that to you. It
Yeah.
limits the mobility, your joint mobility, your overall mobility because you're just carrying extra weight.
I think he must just be doing powerlifting so much and getting that look when at the end of the day, he probably needs to do more athletic moves to become a better athlete. I don't know.
Yep.
I mean, he's, hey, nobody expected him to be, Ricky Steamboat in his prime, but I would want to see a little bit more than what we're seeing, right?
Yeah, he's got the look, and maybe this is because he's been in Hollywood for so long. It's all look and talk.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But he's now in pro wrestling where, unlike Hollywood, you have to do your own stunts.
You have to do your own stunts, and it's live,
It's pro wrestling is live action, do your own stunts.
Right. Anything else you wanted to talk about this match talking segment?
No, I think it does. Just cycling it forward, I think it does provide a good build for the premium live event. It's kind of a letdown because of, well, we'll get to the rest of the show.
Yeah.
But I may not have been as high on this as I could have been under other circumstances. But
right, because of the
as
rest
far as
of
I
it.
know, that's how do you think Ron Killings looked? I think Ron Killings looked pretty good. I like his new persona. I'm wondering for Ron Killings, does this have any legs beyond the John Cena feud?
Yeah.
Like, is bringing him back and changing his character, is this going to die with the end of the Cena feud?
Yeah, totally. It's tough to tell. I do like him shaving his head at least.
Mm-hmm.
And I think at the end of the day, he's already kind of adjusting to it. He's already kind of, because it's a fine line, right? He needs to utilize some of the R-Truth heat while also becoming Ron Killings. And I thought some of the stuff earlier on, when he was beating the hell out of one of the Pretty Deadly guys, I think that's probably like a good aspect of it, right? Like, he's just a guy that comes with covered up, and then he's this crazy guy now.
Yeah, is there going to be like a Ron killings list, and he starts going after all the people who like belittled him during his career?
He definitely could. I mean, I think that he has enough charisma just to do all that comedy stuff where he could transfer over, and I think he already is. Even with the shaved head, he looks like a different guy, right? He looks like significantly different. He looks like a little crazy. But I got one from the fix.
He's doing the Naomi.
He is doing the Naomi.
If he can pull this off as well as Naomi's pulled it off, then yeah, it's got some legs.
It probably has.
I see the fixer's comment there. Yes, I did notice a mark kind of on his shoulder collarbone area. I don't know what it is. I'm sure it's not serious, or John Cena with all his concierge doctors would have something on. But yes, I did notice it. It's like having kind of a birthmark on your cheek or something.
Yeah. Don't know. I didn't even see that, to be honest with you.
some of the close-ups at the end, especially when he's just sitting still on the turnbuckle doing the pipe bomb. Yeah, I'm looking at going, oh, because at first you're thinking, oh, did he get hit there? Is that a little puncture wound from the match? What happened? And you're like, oh, whatever.
It's funny because I have read that, like, CM Punk has had so many great rivalries so far in WWE, and like, why are the talking segments so good? I think it's mostly because there's just so much material with CM Punk. When you
Right.
like do shoot a promo, it's like I think I think many people with CM Punk both they like him and dislike him somehow at the same time. So they like the music, they like the gimmick, they like the nostalgia. Then like trashing him for his internet stuff also is like, or his real life persona, or whatever kind of gimmicks he has in the backstage. But I think that also plays into it. So you can really dislike him also, which makes him an interesting attraction. I can't lie. Like, I cannot hate. He's over, but
It does, and it gives you a lot of fodder for wrestling angles. I mean, sometimes bringing in too much stuff outside of your wrestling promotion backfires. Cough, Charlotte Flair and Tiffany Stratton, cough. That did not go over well for months ago leading up to WrestleMania. But with CM Punk, there seems to be enough good stuff that people can draw on. It's a well that hasn't been exhausted yet. And the question for me is always going to be, is there a decent payoff in the ring?
yeah, right. We'll have to see. I think there was this really terrible match between Goldberg and Undertaker in Saudi Arabia, and they had built it up similar to this, but it was like one of the worst matches ever because Goldberg concussed himself immediately, and Undertaker was like really old, and Goldberg was all out of it the whole time, and it was like 150 degrees or whatever on the in the stadium. I think it was like literally over 100 degrees in the stadium.
Wow.
So it was, so the match was horrific, and I'm hoping that it doesn't go that way with like two old guys in a super long flight in the Middle East, like sweating their asses off, and you're like, and they do all this stuff talking, and then they get in the ring and they're both just, they don't have much left in the tank, right?
Yeah.
Uh,
We'll see. This is all fodder for next week when we review Night of Champions.
mm-hmm.
1 week from tonight.
Fixer's kind of agreeing with you with the disaster thing.
Yeah, so it doesn't always work bringing in stuff from outside of the wrestling creative and trying to bring it into creative. Yeah.
Well, let's put a button on that one here, and let's move to the follow.
Sure.
So, I would say match of the night. Maybe some stuff early on was pretty good.
Okay.
We got Sami Zayn versus Randy Orton. That was a good one that got a good finish.
Yep.
Sami Zayn versus Randy Orton. Randy Orton goes over. I think, from a booking perspective, it might make a little sense because I feel like if Sami Zayn wins, and he's got to win in King of the Ring in Saudi Arabia, they love him there. But yeah, Randy Orton goes over. Dom, what'd you think of this King of the Ring matchup? Randy Orton going to the finals of King of the Ring.
Pretty good match. Goes into the 11 to 12 minute range. I like that it started off with basically all four semifinalists are baby faces, huge baby face. Cody Rhodes is in the ring. Jey Uso emerges from the crowd. They talk about their semifinal match coming up on Raw. Sami Zayn's music hits. He comes out, cuts a pretty good promo about finishing his story. Randy Orton comes out. Everybody's doing pretty good promo stuff except for Cody Rhodes, who didn't get to say a word. And even then, he was pretty good, like looking at people in the facial expressions. So good to have all the baby faces out there. It led right into this match. About 11 and a half minutes or so, Randy Orton ducks a top turnbuckle. Looked like Sammy was going for a crossbody or something. Sammy sort of lands on his feet. Randy goes for the RKO. Sammy slithers out of it, pushes Randy into the corner, charges for a haluva kick, which he had been setting up many, many times. Randy finally catches the charge with an RKO, so he doesn't take the haluva kick. He leans in and gets the RKO, which he had also gone for several times and had missed. So good storytelling in the ring. When people tell me, oh, you've got to have promos and building to the match in the ring before the match makes sense. No, you get a couple of pros in there. They can tell the story just right in the ring from bell to bell.
Right. I
Like
know.
you can do it. Like that's possible. You know, that used to happen quite frequently. It was the norm it was the rule more than the exception years ago, decades ago. So kudos to both guys for just telling the story bell to bell in the ring. It was great to watch. We haven't seen Sami Zayn on SmackDown in a long time, so this was fun.
Yeah.
It reminds me how good he is at bumping and selling. He's he's the guy I think of whenever I see someone else bumping. I think, oh, they're like bumping like Sami Zayn.
Yeah.
You're like Io Sky in WrestleMania, that 5-star match. It's like Io was bumping like Sami Zayn.
Totally.
Like that's the standard. Like, do you bump like Sami Zayn? Not crazy like you're clowning the guy, but do you know how to sell? Do you sell in different ways so it's not always the whole, like, no matter where you get it, it's like, oh, I fell on my back. Like, he has different ways of selling that makes it look more authentic to some sort of hand-to-hand combat. I love watching Sami Zayn. That was great. Randy gets the pinfall. Randy's going to the semifinals.
It's a great
What say you about how this one finished, and if there's any spots you want to call out? I agree with you. This is match of the night.
I'll tell you what. First of all, that's a short about Sami Zayn. That's a great observation. That he bumps and sells so well that it just adds so much to the match. And it's weird because nobody thinks to do it, but it's so important to make it feel authentic. And especially as a face, right? Especially, I mean, which is usually plugged in correctly as a face. I like this one a lot. I love Orton playing the hits, and the crowd just knew it was coming. He does the backdrop, the back body drop, and onto the table. Then the crowd's like, one more time, one more time, one more time, and he just does it again. He appeases the crowd, which he could do as a face, and the table didn't break, so they were like, do it again. He's like, all right, I'll do it again. And then also they revert. At one point, he goes for a third time, and Sami Zayn reverses it. It's so simple sometimes, but it's so great. It's like, oh, if you keep doing a move over and over, then the other guy will know how to reverse it. So Sami Zayn reverses and does the backdrop to the table. It's just like, it's not that hard sometimes, or these are like things that are hard, but they make them look so easy, where it's like, yeah, I don't need to see like a zillion flips and a lot of movement. It's just like that little aspect of the storytelling in it that really, it makes it a strong match no matter what happens, right?
Yeah, and like you're saying, that was a great example of them not doing everything too soon. Randy did the side slam on the announce table, did it again, tries the third one. Sami blocked it, and then they just kept fighting on the floor. Randy tries to slam Sami's head into the table, then rolls him into the ring, gets a 2 count. They wind up on the floor again. Randy goes for that move on the table again. That's when Sami flips to get out of it as he's being picked up, and he hits his own side slam on Randy on the announce table. So, like, you don't have to do everything at the same time. And maybe that's an advantage of these guys being told in the back, look, you got 12 to 15 minutes if you need it. Don't blow everything in the first 3 minutes. And these guys, as 2 veterans, just knowing how to space stuff out.
We got this one from the Fixer here. It sets up the Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton final.
Yeah, right. The 2 friends.
I think it's probably going to be Cody Rhodes, right? Because he's liked in Saudi Arabia, but who knows? Jey Uso is pretty over everywhere he goes too.
Yeah, the way the Fixer is saying Cody versus Randy kind of makes sense as their friendship rivalry goes. Had Sami won this, then you'd be thinking, oh, is it going to be Sami Jey Uso?
Yeah. If Sami won, then you'd have Sami versus Jey Uso.
Yeah, it's my dog versus my dog for the
And
king of the ring, right?
yeah, that actually, wow, why didn't they do that? um, but I think at the end of the day, if they did that, then Sami Zayn would have to go over. I don't, or they would just do what Vince used to do, which is the hometown hero loses all the time.
Right, hold the tight. Yes.
All the time, the hometown hero, whoever, they would pump him up, and he would just make him lose, and it was just like he was just a weird rib on him. You go to your home.
Yeah, I'll see either one of those. Like Randy Orton, I don't know if Randy Orton and Jey Uso have ever wrestled one-on-one, or at least not since Jay's been on the singles push. But
Yeah.
Cody Randy Orton will be fun. So would Jay Randy Orton. I'd like to see that. Jay is getting better in the ring. As a singles wrestler, you need a little better repertoire than as a tag team wrestler. And I think Jay's getting a little better now. He's definitely over with the crowd, but it'd be good to see either way. We will see what happens on Raw in a couple of nights. And then we'll see what happens at Night of Champions a week from now.
Oh,
Any other spots you wanted to call out from this match?
now let's keep it moving here. I wanted to, maybe this actually was pretty close to also match of the night. I wanted to call out Asuka versus Alexa Bliss. Asuka ends up getting the win. This one starts slow and steady and wasn't really too over, but the crowd starts to eventually get into it. And Asuka gets the win here. What you think of this match here, Dom?
I like it. It's the Queen of the Ring semifinal, so Asuka's going to the finals there of Queen of the Ring. It finishes with Asuka getting her knees up on Alexa's top turn twisting splash, then hits her new Empress Impact, which is just the hip check off of the ropes while your opponent's already prone on the mat a little bit and kind of on their knees. Gets the pinfall.
Oh, is that a new move?
Pardon?
That's a new move.
Yeah, it's a new move of hers. Yeah, haven't done it before, but all right. It's match goes almost 10 minutes. I'm with you. I thought it was a pretty good match. Two evenly sized competitors from a height standpoint, so they did a little grappling. There was one fantastic just set of exchanges. Alexa climbed up the turnbuckles, but then saw Asuka like move a little, like she was playing possum. So Alexa was very demonstrative on the top rope. It was like, "Oh no, you don't." She climbs down from the ropes, goes over to Asuka. Asuka was playing possum, and then you get this series of reversals and roll ups, reversals. Asuka rolls it into a submission with an arm hold of some point. Alexa's able to roll out of it, get Asuka's shoulders on the mat for an almost pinfall. So lots of fast work between them, good reversals and exchanges, and it showed them wrestling where they were in contact with each other. It wasn't like just strike and now you're separated and big high spot and you're separated again and high spot. It's like they did it all in such a confined area in contact with each other the whole time. This is this I think is Asuka's influence on the women's division.
Yeah.
She does this kind of thing. And kudos to Alexa Bliss for being able to keep up with Asuka, because Asuka is just so good at some of the MMA stuff here.
The transition when Alexa Bliss comes off the top of the rope and when she's about to go from the top rope and she comes down, and the wrestling they do on the mat is awesome. Yes. I was like, yeah, this is great. Asuka, I think I called it the Rings of Saturn, the Perry Saturn move, because I didn't know what it was called. I think it was called the Rings of Saturn, where you get both of their arms behind them, and it looks like a brutal submission. And then Alexa rolls through and gets the pin, but then like she's on the rope. So it was like a bunch of stuff going back and forth.
Great ring positioning too.
Yeah. We got this from...
Great to see two professionals who they're just coming back from either injuries or long layoffs, and they both look good.
Yeah.
Knees up on the Twisted Bliss. Yeah, they call it the Twisted Bliss, that top turn splash where she kind of inverts herself so her feet go into the middle of the ring rather than the face and hands. Yeah.
And we got another one here, Dom. It's a little early for cheap heat, but we got some cheap heat here. There's a rumor Alexa Bliss might be either leaving WWE or retiring.
Oh, no, I don't want to see that because I think there's some legs to what they're doing with her and Charlotte Flair. Is there anything else you want to talk about more for this match? Because I do want to tie it into the Charlotte Flair match later.
Yeah, let's move to the Charlotte Flair match.
Okay, this was a great match. It was the first one of the night. And then into the Charlotte Flair match, which was versus Chelsea Green. Backstage after Alexa Bliss lost, she was confronted by Chelsea Green, Piper Niven, and Alba Fire, kind of mocking her for losing. And at that point, Charlotte Flair comes over and starts running down Chelsea Green and says, your stooge here didn't tap out soon enough, and I missed my chance to advance in the Queen of the Ring tournament. So I want you. So now Charlotte wants Chelsea Green. This match goes, we get about 7 or 8 minutes of TV time. There's commercials in there as well. So this is a fairly decent match as well. It's Charlotte weirdly seeming like the babyface because Chelsea Green and the Secret Harvest, they're interfering. They're obviously the heels. So like this puts Charlotte in a weird position because I don't think people really want to cheer for Charlotte yet.
Mm-hmm.
They don't quite like her enough, but she's in the babyface position, basically wrestling 1-on-3. She eventually wins the match. She escapes the unpretty her attempt, sends Chelsea off the ropes for a spear for a 2 count. Then she goes for the figure 8. Chelsea goes for the roll-up, gets a 2 count, but Charlotte goes right back into the figure 8, gets the submission for the win. Post-match, Piper Niven immediately hits a running senton on Charlotte, seconds after Chelsea Green tapped, and now there's a beatdown on Charlotte until Alexa Bliss runs down for the save. And now she and Charlotte are just staring at each other. Alexa Bliss extends the hand because he's been trying to, be in the good graces of Charlotte Flair for a while now. And Charlotte just walks right by her without shaking her hands. So if Alexa Bliss is retiring or leaving the WWE, this seems like they're building a long-term angle with her and Charlotte Flair. This is kind of a weird way to send somebody off on a retirement tour to kind of do a slow build angle that looks like it has some legs, unless it's that her contract's expiring in 6 months and they just know they'll have time to get this done in 6 months. I want to see where the Alexa Bliss Charlotte Flair thing goes, especially since it seems to be one of these angles they're building that does not involve a title belt, which is really good because you need those because you can't have a belt for everybody. So you need interesting things and reasons for people to have rivalries that don't involve one of us as the champion and the other one of us just wants the title. So I like that. Another spot from the fixer here that John put up on the screen. I don't know if people will ever cheer Charlotte Flair. They seem to always cheer her when she makes her returns, but it winds up being short-lived. I was watching somebody's commentary online, and they were saying that the problem is they've never given Charlotte Flair any really good creative. Charlotte Flair's entire history in the WWE has been Nepo baby, I'm the queen. My last name is Flair. They've never given her anything interesting to do. They even, and I sort of agree with this. I didn't know the history, but now learning the history, I agree with this. They even dropped the ball on her feud with Rhea Ripley going into what may have been the greatest women's match I've ever seen. I mean, greatest women's match I've ever seen, yes. Maybe one of the greatest women's matches of all time in WrestleMania 39. Like, there was actually interesting stuff they could have done with that Rhea-Charlotte rivalry that they never got to building up to it. They had this great match in the ring, just phenomenal. 5-star match of the year. But like Charlotte never seems to have an interesting anything other than, I'm Ric Flair's kid. And it's too bad because she always seems to deliver. Most of the time she delivers in the ring, even when she's a little off or returning from injury and rusty, it's still not bad.
Though she definitely delivers in the ring like crazy. and especially in big matches when you want her to deliver.
Yes. Yep.
That's a crazy, interesting thing where her being Flair's daughter might actually hurt her instead of help her. You
Yeah,
know,
because creative doesn't do anything for it. Like, oh, just you're the nepo baby.
right?
It's like
And
when Goldberg was getting pushed. What's his character? Oh, well, he hasn't lost yet. Okay, that's a character trait, but okay. This is
yeah,
going to be a disaster when he finally loses or when he finally never loses. I mean,
right. That Goldberg was that was the craziest thing with Goldberg was just winning all the time no matter what, and it's like,
Yeah.
now what? Oh,
Yes.
that's it. No, that's kind of it.
It became a crutch. Like creative didn't have to do anything back there. And I think Charlotte Flair falls into the same problem. So this little budding rivalry with Alexa Bliss might be the first time that they're going to give Charlotte Flair something to work with. And let's see how she does. I like it.
Yeah.
Fix her. Yes, agreed. Everybody's happy to see her because they know she's a great star in the ring, but it gets old very quickly. Happy
Nick.
Saturday to you, Nick, from the Nick Club Wrestling Happy Hour.
Yeah.
Very good.
Check him out on YouTube. I
Mhm.
love his channel every Friday night before SmackDown. Really good stuff from him and Nikki. Okay. Moving on here. What do you want to talk about? I called like the last 3 matches. So how about you call one?
Those were the only 3 matches.
Oh,
Everything
right.
else was something that didn't happen. It like went 2-3 minutes and it was a DQ because they were just setting up something else. So, what of the schmazes or talking segments do you want to go to next?
Yeah, we do have Schmaz Fest on this show. So we got Jacob Fatu talking, and then we have LA Knight versus Bronson Reed in a throwaway match, which is a schmaz, which is like a predictable schmaz too. But then it's like an extended jumping.
Yes.
Um, you know, so at the end of the day, I do have some takeaways for this, which is we got Jacob Fatu Jacob Fatu can talk. Or is this a separate segment? Sorry, am I mixing up segments?
There were one right after the other. Which one do you want to talk to first? You want to do
y-
Solo Sikoa in the ring, trying to get Jacob Fatu out there to clear the air. Jacob
Oh,
Fatu
right.
winds
Yeah.
up offering him a U.S. Championship match. Solo tries a cheap shot. Jacob catches his wrist and beats him down, and that's when JC Mateo runs out. And they have the advantage on Jacob Fatu until Jimmy Uso evens the sides. So it's still a little more bloodline stuff going on.
Yeah. They're going to keep
What do
it
you
going.
think of the pending U.S. title match that they announced a little later in the show? Night of Champions, Jacob Fatu versus Solo Sikoa.
I like Jacob Fatu. He's way over. And he can talk. And I like the backwards Raiders jersey and the Oakland accent he kind of has. He's just charismatic as hell.
Yeah.
That's the only way. And considering he entered the WWE like a year ago, he's very good. I think Solo Sikoa has always been really good, and I don't get why they have him on the bench right now. Or there's 2 guys they have on the bench that I'm confused about, and maybe they're going somewhere with them. Is LA Knight and Solo Sikoa, which they're not necessarily on the bench; they're out there, but they're like just losing. And I'm like, huh. I felt like either of these guys could have been champs and been good champs, but
And maybe that's why you sort of thought to pair these segments. They were right after each other on the show. So I'm looking forward to Solo versus Jacob for the U.S. title. Right after that, we get our match, LA Knight versus Bronson Reed. This was set up in the opening segment of the show when LA Knight got in the ring, called out Seth Rollins because he knew who was behind all these run-ins with Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker going after him. He calls out Seth Rollins. Paul Heyman comes out instead. LA Knight responds to Paul Heyman telling him that, I'm a big fan of you, and that's why I'm telling you, if you don't leave Grand Rapids now, something really bad is going to happen by the end of this evening. So Paul slides out of the ring. Braun and Bronson walk out and hit the ring. They throw LA Knight into the timekeeper's area, clear off the announce table, but in all the time they're taking, LA Knight emerges with the chair, fends off both of them. He stands tall, but there's going to be something else later on. And back from the commercial, it's announced right away, Bronson Reed versus LA Knight later tonight. We get that match for like 3.5 minutes.
Yeah.
Before Braun Breaker interferes, jumps in the ring, spears LA Knight to force a disqualification. Post-match, another spear as Bronson Reed holds LA Knight up for it. And then Bronson Reed hitting 3 top turnbuckle splashes, tsunamis. So they're really selling that LA Knight is the sympathetic figure here.
As if though he needed it, but yeah,
well, but he hasn't been a sympathetic. He's been over.
Yeah, he's been the
man.
man.
But it's been a while since LA Knight's been really an underdog. So and they are really driving this point home. Like LA Knight it's almost like they have a bet going backstage in creative. It's like, how many times can we have LA Knight get pinned in the middle of the ring or get left lying in the middle of the ring after a beatdown and see if the crowd still cheers for him next time?
Yeah.
They haven't exhausted it yet. He keeps getting pinned. He keeps getting ambushed and jumped, causing the pinfalls, and then beatdowns after matches, DQs and everything, and people still cheer for him. So they haven't exhausted it yet.
LA Knight.
I do like at the beginning of the show, he called out Seth Rollins, not Bronson Reed, not Braun Breaker. So they want this to be LA Knight, Seth Rollins. What do you think of that push for LA Knight? And do you want to see that? Is he ready for it? Is the timing right? What say you about them teasing that?
I think I have to give credit to the Fixer, because he's the one that put that in our brain that it's going to be LA Knight versus Seth Rollins in the last show. So I like it. Honestly, I like the concept of it because you're going to have Paul Heyman who can talk, Seth Rollins who doesn't really need to talk. He's just not very good on the mic. Let's just put it like that. Seth Rollins
is good at cackling.
Yeah. I'm the Joker from the 90s. I'm like, oh no, why are you doing this? Why? So you have Paul Heyman who can talk. So you can have these two kind of develop something in their talking segments. And then both are very capable workers. Specifically, Seth is fantastic. So it'll be a good mix-up of styles too. Because you're not going to have like Seth Rollins versus AJ Styles where they have that like fast-moving, athletic style. You're going to have the old school power, like old school wrestling, I'd say, style of LA Knight. And then hitting all of the, he plays the hits, he's like a little bit like Randy Orton.
He plays the hits too.
Yeah.
But I like that he does other stuff. Like you're going to get a side headlock that looks like a side headlock.
Yes.
You're not going to get a John Cena side headlock.
Never forget the John Cena side headlock where he is almost being held up by Cody. It's almost like he's...
Yes. You can imagine Cody saying, "Are you right, John? Are you feeling okay? Are you comfortable? Can I get you a beverage?"
He's just sitting in his lap.
Too strenuous on you, is it, John?
You don't just flex the arm. You have to, act like you're doing a headlock. Oh boy. And you can tell it's just something he's never done. It's always somebody does it to him and then he pushes off. But I'm
glad they've picked a lane with LA Knight because he was getting jumped by the Bloodline 2.0 and he was getting jumped by Seth Rollins' new faction. And it's like, all right, is everybody just going to destroy this one guy who's all by himself for the rest of, the year? I'm glad it looks like they've picked a lane. He's going off of Seth Rollins. The only downside is that means LA Knight is probably going to Raw to help with the Netflix sagging ratings, which means you and I, who watch SmackDown mostly and recap SmackDown, we're going to miss. I feel like LA Knight is Don't Bury the Lead. Our first Don't Bury the Lead live stream was him finally becoming LA Knight instead of Max Dupree.
I know. It's going to be rough. We're his
We've
biggest
watched
fans.
him the whole time. Like his buildup has been our buildup.
It really has been. We've had similar careers.
Right? You know,
We went from 1 view, 0 view, 0 view, 1 view, 0 view, 1 view, 0 view to like getting a little momentum, get the US title, getting monetized on YouTube, you know.
yes.
But yeah, so yeah,
I'm gonna be sad to see that, but good for LA Knight. Remark about Seth Rollins here. Seth Rollins seems to be a guy who shepherds people into the upper elite level of the talent.
mhm.
Cody Rhodes comes back to WWE. Who is he immediately in a program with? Seth Rollins.
Yeah.
CM Punk comes back. Who's there to greet him right away and to basically put the stamp of approval on him that he's a main eventer? Seth Rollins. So now LA Knight being paired with Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins is the stamp of approval guy that if you're working with Seth for an extended program, that means they think you're an A-lister.
I had
So
a
that's
bunch
a good sign for LA Knight.
I love it, Dom. I have a bunch of different comments that came in, or chats
Okay.
rather. Jacob has been so over. He's basically an advert for face turns. Yeah. He is the one that was like, yeah, definitely turn him face if you're feeling it, just do it, right?
Mm.
Um,
And
got
they did not wait too long for it. I think they did a great build and they turned him finally at the right time.
got this one from Nick. Goldberg won a lot in WCW because WCW, in similar fashion to AEW, has a way bloated roster for him to just run through. This is what we were talking about a little bit ago with Goldberg's run.
Yeah, about not having ideas for people other than, well, he's just going to win.
He's just going to win. Yeah, I think that's, and we got one more here. I don't know if you noticed, but when Seth marshals the bronze,
yeah, they get the job done, but when he's absent, they make a mess of it. They did a little bit tonight early in the first segment, but in the second segment, it was perfect. It turned out, just as if Seth was there.
So he can start to get a little angry at his little minions that he's developed here.
Yes.
I should say big minions.
The big minions, the bigions, the binions.
I would like to see a little bit more of Steiner's kid.
Yeah,
Rick Steiner's kid.
That's a guy who you just mentioned people who kind of on the sidelines. He went from being a guy who was wrestling a lot, championship position, to now they're building up his other things that he can do. And it just means that he's not in a lot of matches where he can showcase his match stuff. I like what he and Bronson Reed are doing. I think this is a level up for them.
Mm-hmm.
I think being paired with Seth Rollins here, where you're now attached to him, even if you're his quote unquote lackeys, I think this is a good step up for guys who are mid-carders.
Yeah. And also, in regards to Steiner's kid, gotta love Scott Steiner. And I know he's Rick Steiner's son, but God, he just seems like Scott sometimes when he screams and talks. I'm like, there's a little Scott.
He's a good combination of both of them. He does the barking like Rick.
Yeah. But he's
got a little bit more of the personality flair to him like Scott did, especially later in his career.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Scott Steiner.
And he's got a long career ahead of him. Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker seem to be, in wrestling ages, pretty young guys. It's not like they're getting buried here.
Yeah.
I feel worse for someone like, I think the clock is ticking more on a guy like Sami Zayn. If they're going to keep teasing that Sami's going to have a world title shot one of these days, and will he ever get it? Like the clock's ticking on Sami Zayn for that more than it's really not ticking at all on Braun and Bronson.
Yeah, Sami Zayn, definitely the clock's ticking.
Like Braun and Bronson, this is where they're supposed to be learning, getting into higher profile angles and feuds, even if they're not the center of attention. Like this is what you, if you were a young wrestler, this is what you'd want. It's like, yeah, I got a good mid-card push and I succeeded at it. And now I'm getting paired with the upper card guys.
Dom, speaking of push,
Yeah.
can we push it along maybe to the next segment or anything else you want to talk about with SmackDown?
I think we've just about mentioned everything that happened. So I believe it is time for it. It's drive time. It's the thumb drive. That's where you and I distill everything we watched in this SmackDown episode into a simple thumbs up or a thumbs down, or as I teased in the opening, a hot or a cold. Thumbs up or thumbs down. There are no ties. There are also no star ratings, no letter grades, no number grades. You're taking this course. Pass, fail.
Dom, we're not Dave Meltzer. We don't give 7 stars in the Tokyo Dome. We don't give 3 stars at the TD Bank Arena. No, no, no. We don't give star ratings. We just say, was the show good or was the show bad? Thumbs up or thumbs down? Hot, cold, yes, no, 1, 0. A variety of ways to say yes or no. Dom, are you ready?
I'm ready, my friend.
3, 2, 1. Oh, Dom, why'd you give this SmackDown a thumbs down?
John, this show was 3 hours. This show was 3 hours. I got 3 matches in 3 hours.
I know.
We were more than halfway through a 3-hour show, and the second match was still on.
Is brutal.
I need more than that. Like the talking, I can just get talking by, getting little clips. I mean, the idea of watching the show is to watch the action. And I
Yeah.
know I'm the opposite of other wrestling fans because I am a wrestling fan. But you sit down and you make time for the long show because you want to see the action, not just the blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
I got 3 matches in 3 hours, and they weren't like 3 Iron Man matches.
And
They get a 12-minute match, a 10-minute match, and like a 10-minute match.
I think
3 hours.
you nailed it there, where you basically say it is blah 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 blah, because it just doesn't even matter. It doesn't add anything. It's just filler. It's just we have 3 hours. We have to put the show in. We don't have enough. And we're just like, why don't we do a bunch of talking segments? And you're making everyone talk. People that don't need to talk are out there talking. People that do need to talk are out there talking, and they're talking too much. And, Ron Killings is in like 3 segments to set up for his match. It gets thrown out in the main event.
For a match where he's an afterthought.
And he's an afterthought.
He gets hit once with the belt. You don't see him anymore. He just disappears.
He doesn't come to CM Punk's aid.
No, he just vanishes. He's a ghost.
So I gave it a thumbs up only because I thought the promo by John Cena at the end took the show to another level where I was like, oh, this is really cool. If there was something on the show that sticks out to me that's cool enough that I'm like, go for it, I just give it a thumbs up. There, you could totally skip the entire show except for that segment, and you wouldn't miss anything because it's just tournaments that like have no storyline and a bunch of crazy talking segments. So I think the thumbs down is very warranted. And I'm hoping in July. I cannot wait for 2 hours. I really can't. I think the experiment was here. They did all they could, but when push comes to shove, 3 hours is too long for a daily, weekly show. It's too much. It's too much to really get into it. And then you're like, well, you don't have to watch it all. It's like, well, then what do I want? Then I have to figure out what is good and what is bad. Oh.
Yeah, is this a buffet? I'm supposed like you're aiming for people to fast forward, to not watch it live and then fast forward stuff?
Now, usually me and Dom, we give the thumbs up and thumbs down, and it's a 50-50 split. We got the Fixer giving it the Thumbs down.
He gave it a thumb. Okay. When I give something a thumbs down, that doesn't mean that I hate everything that was on my screen. It just means that overall, I'm thinking, man, I didn't have to watch this show.
Honestly, if we give a thumbs down, it's pretty bad. So, because we're not Jim Cornette. We're not Dave Meltzer, but we're also not Jim Cornette. We don't just thumbs
Right.
down everything. So, if one of us gives a thumbs down, it's like this stinks. So, speaking of stinking, Dom, it's getting a little hot. It's starting to get sweaty. Starting to get stinky.
Summer is here with full force here in southern New Jersey. We had a cool mid-May to mid-June, and now we are at the beginning of what might be a 10-day heat wave with high temperatures above 90 degrees Fahrenheit.
It's summer, baby.
It might be a while before we get a high temperature below 90 Fahrenheit. So, yes, it's heat, and but it's always hot. It don't bury the lead. It's also always very, very cheap.
Right. Always very cheap. You can see the backgrounds here. You can see the mics. We do not spend any money on production because why?
I am sharing my screen. Can everybody see my screen?
Yeah.
You're on mute. You're on mute. You're on mute. Dom, you're on mute. Click the button.
Yes.
Yes, it's your office stand up here that we do. Don't bury the lead. So we're gonna start with Tony Khan. He's out in Cannes, France. He appeared on Yahoo Finance earlier this week. And a big part of what they gave him like half their show. Their show runs about 22 minutes. He's in there for like an 11-minute interview. They set up the remote feed from over in Cannes where they caught up with him. One of the big things he talked about is apparently over at Turner, they're splitting up their properties a bit into TV broadcast and online streaming. And how does this affect AEW? And the reason this becomes a big deal is because AEW is really doing well lately in both formats. So Tony Khan is saying that he has a great relationship with everybody that seems to be involved in both TV broadcast and the streaming side, and he looks forward to continuing the partnership there. I think it's a good sign for AEW that when people talk about big things happening with enormous companies, that they're going to Tony Khan and saying, hey, you work with these guys. What can you tell us about what's happening at one of the biggest media companies in the world, sort of splitting some of their properties there?
Yeah.
Did you get a chance to see this interview with Tony Khan, and what did you make of Tony not only getting this kind of spotlight, but how it made him look and the things that he said?
Tony Khan gets made fun of constantly by the internet wrestling community, but having said that, he is, in my opinion, a very good businessman and he's not just because he takes his daddy's money or whatever. That's that's been the easy, cheap cop out, but he really knows how to position himself and knows how to speak to what the high level things that AEW does. Like he's not just talking about creative. Like no offense to Triple H, but like he's a creative guy. He's a wrestler. He's not a guy that has to get these contracts with these very high big players like HBO or Ted Turner, TNT. They also own HBO Max. I really think highly of him from that perspective, especially when you see him in these talks. You're like, this guy's really sharp. He knows his stuff. And
he's a businessman. This is wrestling finance stuff. This is beyond the ring.
He has a great feel for it, and I think he's done something a little bit more unique than what WWE's done, which WWE's gone out and they've gone and they bid themselves out like crazy. They're on Netflix. They've been on Spike TV, remember, years ago. They've been on USA. They were on Fox. They had NBC. Like all these different connections, all these different companies have, and they go to the highest bidder. But Tony Khan was like, we want to do business with Ted Turner and his company, and that's it. We're not going looking for other people. So he probably takes a little bit of a hit not going out and going to bid, but he's developed this really good relationship with a huge player in the streaming and cable market. You look at like inside the NBA and as they're leaving, people are chanting TNT, TNT in the Pacers. This is like a great clip. I'll have to show it to you at some point, but this is like when inside the NBA, which is a fantastic show with Charles Barkley, Shaq, Kenny, and so as they're leaving the arena, everyone's chanting TNT, TNT. It's like it's got a good name to it. Unlike ESPN, which is just constantly trying to fix their name, ESPN's always getting shredded. So they're just with a good company. And they're like, this is the company we want to produce or to be our distributor of our stuff, of our content. And listen, we may not get the most money, but we have a good relationship with them. So very old school stuff that he's doing, sticking with TNT. What do you think, Dom? Sorry, I kind of went on a rant there.
No, I like that, and it gave me the idea. You talking about how Tony Khan really wanted to stick with Turner. It reminds me of what we were talking about in the SmackDown recap, referring to guys who were in the mid card who want to be attached to somebody in the top of the card because it elevates them. That's basically the position Tony Khan was in.
Mm-hmm. Right. Exactly.
Like he wants to partner with Turner because Turner's enormous.
Yeah.
Like, why would you not want to partner with Turner if you're an up and coming promotion? WWE's in a completely different scenario. I mean, WWE's been around for so long as WWF that they were at the forefront of a lot of this stuff.
Right.
They
Totally.
made pay-per-view what it is.
For all fight game stuff too.
They made primetime wrestling and cable TV live cable TV wrestling, first run stuff, not syndicated or old stuff that like ESPN or other places have been running. They made primetime cable wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
They made network broadcast wrestling. They made using your internet platforms.
Mm-hmm.
Like WWE's been around for so long that as these new forms of media pop up, WWE's always at the cutting edge.
Right.
Tony Khan's around now surveying a landscape where all of this stuff has already happened. And he's got to find a way to grow his company into the opportunities that other people have already laid out for him.
Mm-hmm.
Pay-per-view was already a thing. Tony Khan had to figure out, okay, how do we leverage pay-per-views? How many do we do? How does it affect our TV? How much TV weekly do we produce? How much episodic stuff do we produce? And they're still going through it. It's Dynamite. It's Rampage. It's Collision. How many of them go live? How long are they? How many hours of TV are we producing each week? Do we produce stuff especially for streaming platforms? How do we pair streaming with cable broadcast? These are stuff that already exists that Tony just has to fit his product into these other things that other people are doing. So it's a different pathway. It's a different journey than what WWF was doing 40 years ago, 30 years ago, 20 years ago, 10 years ago. And I think Tony has done well for himself for what his business is and what his landscape looks like. And does that mean it's the greatest company in the world? No. Does that mean that it's the worst company in the world? No. Does that mean he's guaranteed to succeed 5 years from now, 10 years from now? No. It just means that for right now, in a marketplace that's always going to be dynamic, he's doing a pretty good job for his company in the circumstances in which he finds himself.
Yeah. Another thing, just high level stuff here with, his father's a billionaire. Yeah. Billionaires typically don't like to lose money.
That's not how they became billionaires, right?
That is one thing that's really underestimated in the fact that his father has entrusted him with some money to make some more money. He has to answer to the guy that gave him the money, right? Yes. Like it's not like they're like, oh, this is your plaything. Go do whatever you want. billionaires, they don't think like that. They think like, you need to be developing the asset bigger and bigger and bigger, no matter what, which
Yep.
is our chunk of the pie. So if it was a failing company and he was just losing all this money and there was no future, Papa Khan would pull the money away. But because it has legs and it has success, and they or I think it was 5 to 10x their TV deal. Mind you, when Punk was gone and ratings were down, both those things happened, and they still 5 to 10x their contracts with TBS, Warner, whatever you want to call them. So, yeah, I think he's
reminds me of Panda Energy and TNA Impact more than a decade ago. It was, people kept questioning how much more money is Panda Energy going to throw into this project.
Yeah, right. I mean,
so it's something that WWE is so unusual because it was basically a family business that blew up. And that's all they did. And the other wrestling promotions that we hear about are guys who were very successful in business in other areas. The Khan family in football and whatever else they did before the Jacksonville Jaguars. Panda Energy before buying TNA. Even NWA now, the resurrection of NWA. Billy Corgan made his money with the Smashing Pumpkins in music, and he owns cafes and restaurants, So it's people who succeeded in other industries who then took their interest in wrestling and tried to apply it to wrestling. And WWE is really the outlier in that. It's weird to talk about the bellwether of the industry as the outlier.
Yeah.
But it really is.
Right.
So, evaluating Tony Khan with his set of circumstances, rather than saying, well, how does he compare to the WWE? I think Tony Khan's done a pretty good job. You watch the product more than I do. I mean, are you satisfied with the product that Tony Khan's putting out there for AEW?
Oh, totally. It's a great number 2. And there's nothing, and a viable number 2, where it starts to be like if Hunter or TKO, more importantly, TKO is asleep at the wheel, people will start to watch AEW, right? So there is a viable number 2 that can challenge them. I have a good one here from the Fixer, just talking about it. WWE's basically been around since the
WWF days.
Yeah, basically WWE has been around since the early 1970s, and
Vince McMahon's father. Yep, and it was Vince Jr. who consolidated it and wanted to go national instead of territorial.
Yeah, and it was even there. It's so crazy. I saw this this history of the McMahon family before Vince Sr. They were booking boxing matches at Madison Square Garden. They were still in. It wasn't. I don't think it was necessarily pro wrestling, but they were still in the fight game.
Yeah, sports promotions. Yeah.
Yeah, so they've been
big time event promoters.
He
with connections to the greatest arena in the world, right? The New York City area, Madison Square Garden. So wanted to stay on AEW here. They had a big Grand Slam Mexico on Wednesday. AEW CMLL Grand Slam in Mexico. MJF at the hotel was attacked by a fan, and he seemed to enjoy that it got good heat.
Whoa, really?
From Sean Ross Sapp on X. He was fine after the attack and seemed proud of the heat. One more thing from it. Bryan Danielson returned after the show apparently went off the air. This comes to us from WrestleZone.com. He and some friends made a run-in after Grand Slam Mexico went off the air. Did you catch some of this show Wednesday or on replay? What did you think of it? What do you think of this AEW stuff? Tony Khan, by the way, was in France on Tuesday, flew to Mexico City for this event the next night. What do you think about any of this stuff? The MJF angle with the Hurt Business and then the Bryan Danielson return at the end here.
The Hurt Business stuff is hilarious.
Okay.
They're doing a good job, and they put MJF in a position where he probably wants to be in, where he's more of a character persona rather than like a 9 to 5. You know, every Wednesday night he's the guy wrestling and he's awesome at wrestling. Like he's more of the personality, and it's such a great dynamic between him and the Herb. All these, Shelton Benjamin, MVP, and Bobby Lashley, all jacked, and then him there, like kind of like the Sami Zayn thing, not the same dynamic, but a similar dynamic. And you have this, and then he's calling people honkies and stuff like that. So that's great. I did not know he got attacked for real.
Apparently took off the mask of one of the luchadors he was fighting, and he's here kind of this may be him posing with it.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And then afterwards, somebody, they take their wrestling seriously down there, especially their masks. Their luchador masks.
That's wild. Well, so when he took the mask off, someone attacked him in the lobby.
He got back to the hotel.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently somebody recognized MJF and kind of went after him. Love to hear you can still get this sort of heat in 2025.
Right? Yeah, because all that stuff's kind of gone away as it's been a situation where, people know it's theatrical, it's scripted.
Yeah, we comment on that frequently. At least I bring it up whenever a heel escapes through the crowd. Yeah. It's like Jim Cornette is rolling over in his grave, even though he's not dead.
Whenever the heel goes through the crowd, and the crowd's taking photos of him instead of like grabbing at him.
It's like I'd be stabbed a dozen times before I got to the second level.
Right. Especially like a Cornette heel where he wasn't supposed to be so violent. He's just antagonizing the crowd. I'll be right back, Dom. Sorry.
So that's some fun stuff from AEW. Injury reports over at WWE. Liv Morgan's injury is the worst case scenario and requires surgery. However, it was this past Monday on Raw. We've got an update from PW Insider and Mike Johnson that with her surgery pending, multiple WWE sources have confirmed that Liv Morgan has been pulled from the road and won't be making any appearances live on WWE programming in the near future. However, we are told a plan has been made for the WWE Women's Tag Team titles. They are not expected to be vacated as of this morning, which was Friday morning. So I don't know about you guys if you think there's something they can do. I think a great angle has been set up where they where they offer Raquel Rodriguez, look, you can keep the tag team belts. We won't vacate them, but you need to find a partner. And it's Roxanne Perez, who's been trying to sneak her way, finagle her way into the Judgment Day, who becomes Raquel Rodriguez's partner while Liv Morgan is out. And then it becomes kind of an odd couple because they don't really like each other. So I wonder if that's on tap. It was Cage Side Seats over at SB Nation that had the story on... you could see the picture here. This was after Raw of Liv being helped to the back. It was a serious injury. Another thing I wanted to bring up in relation to this, from WrestleZone, Elijah was injured at this week's NXT tapings. This was the former Elias from when he was in WWE. He's now Elijah working over at TNA. They did an NXT TNA crossover again. Elijah was part of it. He apparently tore his triceps during the 6-man tag match. It was noted that the injury happened as Elijah came off the top rope and did a double knees to the chest move. The tear happened after he broke the landing with his arms. So this is again, now he was able to continue, unlike Liv Morgan, who had a stopper match, rolled to the outside and they stopped the match and helped it to the back. Elijah, perhaps because it was in a 6-man tag, was able to kind of hide for a while and just not use that arm, and nobody really noticed. He was somehow able to finish the match with his teammates obviously carrying the big load for him. Timetable not given for his return, but I wanted to point this out. I think they're related, not just because they happen both on WWE programming, but this is two major injuries very close together that happen with wrestlers falling forward and trying to break their fall with their arms as they are falling face first, rather than the typical back bump where you just throw your arms out. So it's kind of like a big old T shape and it just absorbs some of the impact. Face first bumping with your arms forward of you seems to be more dangerous. This is two big upper arm injuries with wrestlers trying to take face bumps and putting their arms out. This is not, that's not good. That seems to be something that would be risky. So, I don't know if there's going to be a change up in how some of the moves and sequences are designed so that people aren't taking ridiculously high impact face bumps where they've got to put their hands forward, their arms forward, in order to break their fall, or just something else. But I don't know. It seems like more than a coincidence to me that two wrestlers, Liv Morgan, who was, up in the air and therefore falling from a greater height onto a face bump with her arms extended, dislocates a shoulder and needs surgery. And then Elijah up off the top rope for a move where he has to fall forward and brace himself from a greater height than just standing. And he tears his tricep up near, the tricep is upper arm near the shoulder area, and he now requires surgery. Wrestling is real. Democracy is fake. I wonder.
I love it.
This seems not. Did you return just as I said? Wrestling is real. Democracy is fake.
Yes, my all-time, one of my favorite Dom lines.
Okay. I was talking about the fact that we've got two what I thought were related stories. Not only Liv Morgan but Elijah. Both of them took from way up in the air face bumps with their arms extended to brace their fall, and both of them got serious upper arm injuries on that bump that required surgery.
Oh, so, interesting that they were so similar.
Yes.
And it's weird.
Liv Morgan was up in the air and being dropped face first, put her arms out to, for the face bump to break so you're not hitting your face, and dislocates the shoulder. Elijah's up on the top turnbuckle, does the knees to the chest where he's got to, when he finally hits the mat, brace himself falling face first with his arms, and he gets the upper arm injury, tearing the tricep. So these high impact, high distance to the mat face bumps where guys have to put their arms out to brace their fall, like that's risky.
Yeah. I know what the thing is too. There's a couple ways to take the face bump. Mostly you want to turn your head.
Yes.
And kind of do, and I can't do it on the screen, but put your arm almost like you're sleeping, where your right arm goes up, your left arm goes down, your right leg goes up, and your left leg stays flat. And you take it and turn your head. That's how you would just take like a normal face bump, but from so high, they must need to stop their momentum with their arm.
Yes.
So they don't land on their face. Just it's too much on their face, which is, that's no good. And you know what?
They're also in positions where they're engaged with other wrestlers and cannot use their legs as part of the bump like you normally would.
Normally, what you would do is you turn your head and use as much of the rest of your body for the surface area of your body to take it, and make sure you're just not smashing your face in. But the other thing that's weird is Liv is such a great wrestler. Why was she doing that?
It was in a spot with Kairi Sane. It seemed like just a freak accident. This is throwing a lot of things into flux in WWE. Nikki Bella was supposed to run down at the end of that match, and that was supposed to be setting up something that may have main evented the Evolution 2 Premium Live event.
Oh, really?
So they wind up not sending Nikki Bella out there because there was nothing that they had planned for her to do with Liv Morgan out.
Mhm.
And now they've probably got to rewrite the main event of that premium live event and promote it differently.
Oh wow, Nikki Bella.
They were
Interesting.
building Liv Morgan versus Nikki Bella for Evolution too.
And that's interesting. Nikki Bella's back after. Wow, I can't even believe she's in the company. That's so weird. You know
Yeah,
her?
they were building for this.
Do you know her history at all? If we're going to do GP,
The Bella twins, the Diva House, that kind of stuff.
she was almost married. I think she was engaged to John Cena.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so she was with John Cena, and also
I
her
remember the jokes.
her
If people
mother.
listed it, they would list it. One was start dating, two was get engaged, three was get married, and then the punchline was Cena kicks out at two.
Right. No, she was. He was. So they had a really serious thing, and then they split. And then in addition to that, John Laurinaitis was married to Nikki Bella's mom, or in a relationship with, and
Oh,
John Laurinaitis is not in not in good standing with the WWE.
no, not anymore.
Yeah, so that's pretty interesting that she's still hanging around there. Maybe
Yeah, the Bella twins had been pushing for another a redo of Evolution. Like let's do one for the modern age and the modern roster. And Nikki Bella, Liv Morgan was a major program they've been building. So it not only throws it. I heard someone say it's the curse of the WWE World Women's Tag Team titles. So
Yes.
I'm hoping it turns into Raquel Rodriguez now has to tag team with Roxanne Perez, and they become sort of like the odd couple trying to get along.
Yeah.
As they don't like each other if they're not vacating the belts. But yeah, lots of stuff with these injury reports that I just thought there was something way too similar to them. So I kind of threw them up here together. Elijah also apparently plays a 12-string guitar. I did not know that.
Oh.
If this picture here is to be believed.
Right. Well, he definitely does play the guitar well during the he like plays he does the acoustic sets. Or,
I did
sorry.
not know that he was Elias in the WWE. I don't know much about him.
Yeah, he said everyone walks with Elias. WWE is walk with Elias. Walk with Elias. WWE walk with Elias, and then he would do instead of a promo, he'd play acoustic guitar and sing about something.
Okay.
But
that's actually a pretty creative gimmick. I like that.
But he's a really good guitar player and singer. Like I would have to say, like people liked it.
Okay.
Oh, John Laurinaitis' brother was one half of the Road Warriors. Wow.
Yes. Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you, Fixer.
I did know that. Yes. He was not just some guy who showed up. He was kind of a wrestling family there. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Very good. Up next, again from Cage Side Seats. It sounds like WWE isn't happy about AEW stars being on the American Gladiators with The Miz. WWE pitching a fit. This seems to be a pattern because from Clutch Points, WWE makes Happy Gilmore 2 MJF requests to Netflix. They requested that Netflix somehow alter the Happy Gilmore 2 trailer so that MJF would not appear in it.
That's stupid. And I think that's real. I think this one's real.
Right?
Because if MJF wasn't, because he's all over the trailers. I think
he's in it. Becky Lynch is in it. Nikki Bella is also in it.
Mm-hmm.
So Happy Gilmore 2 is a Netflix production. So obviously Netflix wants to promote it, and WWE's like, take that guy out of it because he works for the other company. Oh,
so
my
stupid.
Goodness.
That's dumb, and I believe that one. The other one that Meltzer reported, I think might be BS. I think this is like, because Meltzer, he's just saying stuff. This one where they're upset that AEW stars are alongside in Gladiators, I don't think that's true.
Yes, wondering if WWE will promote the show as much as they would have because The Miz is on it with AEW talent. The Observer also pointed out the Happy Gilmore budding controversy that was happening. So this stuff is all over the place.
Yeah. And no, it's funny because I think one is correct. But then if they did the Happy Gilmore trailer during Raw and MJF wasn't on it, then that's on purpose, and that's also stupid. It's like,
So, yeah, there's still a little bit of a business rivalry going on.
because Netflix wants people to watch the movie Happy
Yes.
Gilmore.
Yes.
So if people happen to see that MJF is in it and they like MJF, which a lot of WWE fans do, they're like, oh, cool, I'll watch the movie. It's in Netflix's best interest to not be petty and be like, and it's all wrestling fans that watch Raw. So if there's one other wrestler, they might get more viewers to their movie.
Sure.
So stupid. Sorry.
I'm with you on this. It doesn't make. I mean, WWE is almost acting like they're the underdogs.
It really is like we're the underdogs. Like, don't ever let them in. It's like, no, like you guys won. It's over. AEW's
Like,
number 2.
if MJF's in it, then everyone will stop watching WWE programming.
They're actively watching WWE programming when they watch Raw, and they see that thing.
You would think that Netflix would have figured this out if having MJF in the movie was going to destroy WWE, then Netflix would not have signed a huge deal with WWE.
I just feel like Happy Gilmore and MJF make a lot of sense. I did see a trailer for this movie, and I have to say something. It looks horrible.
Okay.
So I think all's well that ends well. It looks bad. They're just doing the same jokes over again. Like literally just all the same jokes from the old movie, but just in the new movie. And then like a bunch of new characters that are like popular, famous people, like Travis Kelce, MJF. Just like not people that aren't actors are just in it. Eminem is
cameos.
Eminem makes a cameo. Why? Because he just likes Eminem. He just wants to put him in the movie.
Pro wrestling is real. Happy Gilmore 2 is fake.
It's fake.
And finally, in Cheap Heat, some good news. Will Ospreay engaged to his bride-to-be Alex Windsor, and up there on his ex account and her ex account. Congratulations to the, I am assuming, happy couple there. Wonderful there. Will Ospreay has been doing good work on AEW, hasn't he? I hear about him every now and then.
Yeah, he's fantastic. He's the real deal. He's a great wrestler. He's super athletic. Any pay-per-view that he's in, he's excellent. And he's good on the mic. And he's good on the mic because he's just, yeah, bruv. Okay, bruv. And he's got this accent, and maybe the Fixer, you might know better than I do. But he's got this accent and this energy about himself. And he's just really good at what he does, and he's such a lovable baby face, and he's like a screaming, excitable, powerful baby face that the crowd just loves. So yeah,
if you're a loser American like me, you're fascinated by the British accent.
Yeah, Fixer, you got to let us know. What do you think of is it in your region, Will Ospreay's accent? I'll send these messages when we're done. Is this the last one we're talking about?
Lots of great, of course, congratulations in the comments section here. People sending good thoughts and good wishes and good prayers and good everything to Will Ospreay and his bride there. So a fun, positive note there to finish up the agenda for this week. As always, it is unseasonably warm. It is pathologically frugal. John, what is it?
It's cheap. He.
Yes, sir.
There we go. All right. All right. All right. Many of you have watched this show before, so you know we ain't even close to done. Because we're the Italian goodbye. And you know what the Italian goodbye is? You know the Irish goodbye? When you're leaving a building and you don't say bye to anyone and you just going to go, you're not going to say goodbye. There's the Italian goodbye. When you're at your aunt's and you step in and you're about to leave. And your aunt says, "Oh, Johnny, why don't you come here for a sec? I'm going to show you something. Here's this, here are the meatballs. Oh, help me get these meatballs. We can get them home for you." And then you get in the foyer and she says, "Oh, Johnny, what are you doing? What do you, what you guys think of the meatballs? Or what do you think of this? Or what do you think of the Eagles?" And, you know, your uncle comes over. So, yeah, what do you think of the Eagles? And then you guys start talking. That's really how it works in my house with the Italian goodbyes. You just start
Yes.
talking about sports. You start talking about a TV show that I haven't watched before, and they're like telling you to watch it, and then they'll keep explaining it to you. But yeah, so that's the Italian goodbye, and I got the fixer with some inside news of things about we wouldn't know. It's about I've known people from Essex, and they don't say a lot of polite things about. They say the F word a lot.
Oh, so if you're from, is Will Ospreay from the Essex area?
Yeah, let's see.
Is that where he's billed at? And it's kind of like, because we have that in the U.S. Different regions of the country are looked down upon by other regions of the country. You know, the New Englanders look down. You know, at least the old stereotype is that the New Englanders look down upon the Southerners and call them rednecks and white trash. And you know, then in reverse, it's like, you know, they refer to the New Englanders as too snooty and, you know, with their nose in the air or whatever. And
Fixer,
people from
this
the West look down upon people from the East, and you know, it's
yeah.
like all those hippies from California and all those Wall Street types over in New York on the East Coast, and everybody makes fun of New Jersey, where you and I live here, John. You know, so
Yeah. And I'd say it's the greatest state in the union, quite frankly.
yeah,
Because yeah, everyone makes fun of well, now we might be number 2. I think number 1's California. People be trashing California.
people are trashing California now, but I think New Jersey, from, you know, hey, New Jersey, let's get our title back.
Let's get our title back. This is right from the fixer. Made me laugh out loud. People from Essex like to sound posh, but ... they're dumb as a box of rocks.
There you go.
All right.
So is Will Ospreay one of the guys from Essex?
Yeah, he's from Essex.
Okay, there you go. So
yeah, I totally see that from Will Ospreay. He's very athletic, so you know. I missed a bunch of comments here from or chats from the fixer. So
there
let
we
me
go.
bring them up.
Hey, throw them at us. This is the time to. This is what the Italian goodbye is. You think you're done. It's like, oh, did you see this?
This is some good stuff. The fixer said, "Yep, Vince's dad was a boxing promoter."
Yep. So they transitioned pretty well. Like they were involved in big time event promotion.
But it was Vince that made wrestling $1 billion industry for sports entertainment for sure.
Yep. No argument there.
There was this one that's really good. This is great. We were talking. There's a great deal about the AEW and WWE. There is a great deal of pettiness between WWE and AEW back again, and then it says WWE and AEW are like a dysfunctional family. It's exactly it. They're a dysfunctional family. They share members like frequently. John Moxley.
Yeah, people hop between the two of them, and also, as we've seen, when WWE is unchallenged, the wrestling product gets worse. They kind of do need each other.
They both need each other, because if WWE didn't exist, then there wouldn't be anybody for them to nip their to go after, right? As the underdog, or even to keep wrestling afloat. Because if it was just AEW, then maybe people just stop watching wrestling in general if WWE
Oh,
starts.
AEW definitely benefits from, they bring in a new guy and people go, "Oh, I've seen that guy before."
Oh, I've seen him in WWE. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's a big part of the attraction. And then you get to see that AEW does something a little different with them. But the hook is there that I've seen this guy before. Like wrestling is a big industry.
Oh my god, I got a great one. Sorry.
Okay.
This is great. Hang on. Because the girls we all know from Essex use their underwear as ankle warmers.
Okay, that, that's the old joke making the rounds there, yeah.
Girls from Essex use their underwear as ankle warmers. Hilarious. You know what it is too? It's not that crude. It's not that dirty, but you know what it means.
Yes.
It's not like, oh yeah, like there's other things you could say that would allude to a type of a girl that would be
Sure.
like way not YouTube friendly, right? But if you say, oh yeah, they use their underwear as ankle warmers. Okay.
They have some wittiness with manners over there in the UK.
Yes. You guys got it going on. So Dom, how you been, man? How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. I did not realize that the Will Ospreay cheap heat thing there at the end would lead to so much inside baseball knowledge there of Essex over there in England.
Well, we got the perfect guy.
Great.
And Fixer, we really appreciate you becoming one of our members of our channel.
Broadening our horizons as well.
Yeah. So it's really cool that you did that. Really appreciate it, brother. And it means a lot.
Very good. Yeah, I got my other podcast that I do, the Sunday Buffet. It's in the can. It's all ready to go for tomorrow. So that's ready. I'm just making my way through normal stuff. Maybe chatting with someone about some software projects on Monday. One of the neat things I've been able to do is interact with guys who are really involved in high-level software production. Guys who've been founders of some things. They're not famous people, but they've built things that and one of the things that it's referred to in the industry, I learned, is called exiting.
Yeah.
It means that you created something that was good enough for a big company to buy you out.
Yeah.
And that's that's an achievement.
For sure.
That you made something that was viable.
That's the achievement.
Somebody else made you a huge offer for it. So I may have a call like that coming up soon. I was mentioning to the guy, I said, because he at first said, can you hop on a call Saturday evening? I said, no, man, I got to do my pro wrestling podcast. We do Don't Bury the Lead. And then I was telling him, the pro wrestling podcast has been really the only connection I've had to software since I left Zappos.
Oh, okay.
Doing the single page app that, we use not only for our backgrounds, but once a year for the WrestleMania stuff.
Wow, that's really cool.
This past year, I had to update all the dependencies because they were too old and had been outdated. And I'm like, oh, what do I go? Why isn't this working? What do I have to update now?
Yeah.
That's been my connection to coding.
So, is this guy? He's just a friend of yours that you'll meet up with, or a contact?
Yeah, contact. We're gonna do a video call with. I've been following him and interacting with him for a couple of years between LinkedIn and X.
Okay.
He's he at one point had some QA stuff he was thinking about and said, if what I'm doing with this other project for this company works out and we need some QA guys, I'll give you a call and see if you're interested and it fits what you know. And so we've kept in touch. And so yeah, it's that's my big plans for the next couple of days is that I'm always I don't pass myself off as some guy who would be somebody's senior engineer or whatever, or team lead or anything. But after getting through boot camp and getting my first job in software, I've tried to keep up on it.
Yeah. Do you so is there an opportunity for you guys for that
I don't know. It might be. I mean, he's got a new project he's working on. I don't know if it's completely by himself or if he just got a small team working on it.
Mhm.
So if it's the kind of thing where he was thinking of letting me see some of what he was working on, and if there's we get to talking and there's a way I can contribute, I'd take a short term deal with somebody. Sure.
Yeah, that'd be perfect, and it'd be a good experience. He'd probably pay you. I mean, the pay might not be there, but it's probably in your both of your interests, right?
Great.
Or maybe the pay is there, and it's awesome.
Yeah, anything, any bit of compensation for your time and your skills and stuff that you're contributing. I wrote about AI just this past Wednesday for my Substack blog.
Does he follow you in Substack?
Yeah, we're writing there at about AI. So, yeah.
Does he follow you on Substack?
I'm not sure. I've talked to him about it. I don't know if he does, but yeah. So I'm all over Substack, keeping busy with writing, podcasting, and then of course watching wrestling once a week and doing the granddaddy of them all. Don't bury the lead.
This is my biggest.
If you're out there watching us on the live stream, wherever you're watching us, thank you very much. Make sure you find us on YouTube, though, where you can subscribe at the channel and get our mother load of content, all the archived live streams, plus the edit videos that John makes and the hashtag shorts, the under 60-second videos that John makes. That's everything we have for you there. Subscribing does help us. It helps the algorithms, helps more people find us. It's like the snowball effect. So help us climb that next mountain. 1,200 subscribers, 1,500, 2,000 subscribers. Who knows where we'll top off? It's fun to do. And if you're watching on the archive right now, thank you very much for finding us. Make sure you like the things you like. Comment when you want to comment. We do read them. Subscribe if you're not yet subscribed. And hey, tell us what you enjoy from our content over there at Don't Bury the Lead, a wrestling channel on YouTube.
Yeah. We're at 1,150 subscribers. So
all right.
The next goal I would say is 1,500. Is that fair?
1,500 might be good.
1,500 would be a big one. Yeah, maybe actually, what am I thinking? Because it's we'll get to 1,200. We want 50 more. We'll get to 200.
Yeah, see, they're 1,200, and then when you hit 1,200, you're like, well, let's see if we can. Let's see if we get to that. You're going up in steps, and the thing is as you get bigger, the steps get a little bigger.
Yeah, exactly. Unfortunately, yeah. If I get I make a video and I get to like 400 views, I'm like, only 400. 400 views I would have killed for in my first 2 years. I would have murdered someone and then took a video of it and then posted it on YouTube for 400. That's how
I would have gone to Japan and dressed like Logan Paul in a forest for 400 views.
I would have done what Logan Paul did and just destroyed my life.
I think we still have the video up. The main video when you go to our channel is the Vince McMahon one about whether or not he'd sell the company to a Saudi Arabian buyer.
Oh yeah,
it's got like maybe 100 views.
Yeah, and that was a big one. It got
at the time it was huge.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe I'll have to bring that out, like throwback when we thought Vince McMahon. Maybe I should start doing that.
We were right though. He was going to sell.
He's going to sell it to Saudi Arabia, which would have been wild.
Well, he did enter into a partnership with them. That's why they're doing more stuff over in Saudi Arabia. Like this coming Saturday's 1 week from tonight, Night of Champions is in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, watch out. Dodge them missiles when you boys are heading over.
Me going above and beyond there. Hey, I do what I can. Thank you, Fixer.
This is the Italian goodbye. We're gonna start saying crazy stuff, Fixer. You know this. let's think here.
It is seriously getting hot. That's why I'm not doing the sport coat anymore. In fact, on tomorrow's Sunday buffet, I'm not wearing the sport coat, and I'm telling everybody that's the griddle, man. The first segment of the Sunday buffet is the griddle, where we do the hot takes, not hot cakes, but hot takes. And the first hot take is that, hey, the summer solstice is here, and summer showed up with a vengeance.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Dom, we're sitting here Italian goodbying and not even talking about the next show. It's at 1 p.m. on our time, Fixer.
Yeah.
1 p.m. Eastern. What time is it there for you, Fixer? 1 p.m. our time. So
it's probably prime time-ish for the Fixer, because Saudi Arabia is closer to European time than it is to us.
Yeah, for us, it's 1 p.m. And we can watch the show. If it's a regular PLE, it's 3 hours. And then we can broadcast right after, right?
We would probably do that. Yeah. I mean, it'll be like the first time this happened to us, we were joking like, oh, this is like a college football game on a Saturday afternoon.
Saturday afternoon, exactly.
Yeah, 1 p.m. It's a college football game on a Saturday afternoon, and we will, if we can, if we're both able to watch live on Saturday, then yeah, we will live stream right afterwards. We're taking it. Don't bury the lead, old school.
Yeah.
Where we used to live stream within a few minutes of SmackDown going off the air on Fox.
I wonder, let's see here.
Back on Friday nights.
Yeah, I'm free. It's going to be the 21st.
I will also make myself free then on Saturday afternoon. That'll be fun.
Yeah, Saturday afternoon you can watch. Boy, you know what I was thinking? We haven't done it in a while. I don't know if you want to come over and watch and then do the show.
We haven't done that in a while. We haven't done a premium live event in a while, because the last time we were supposed to, my laptop died.
Well, let's stick with doing it remotely, and let's see if we can. I'll check with Liz and see if it would be cool if we did a live stream in person.
We could do all sorts of cool stuff as we get closer to Saturday.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Dom. On that note, let's see here. Right now it's 3:30. It would be
7 p.m. UK time. Right, so it's prime time over in the UK.
I believe so.
Yeah, right now it's between 10 and 11 p.m. for us now. It's 10:39 p.m. here in the somewhere in the swamps of Jersey. We are on daylight savings time now, and I believe, Fixer, were you telling me it's British summer time? British summer hours when they changed the clocks there over in the UK. But yeah, we are on daylight savings time. So 10:40 p.m. here, our time, just about. So very good.
All right, Dom. I think it's time for me to mosey on down to the.
All right, very good.
To the actual goodbye. Fixer, a pleasure as always, man. Hey, I really appreciate you becoming a member of our channel. It means a lot. You're the man. We love you. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Nick, for chiming in as well, and anybody else who was on the live stream who you don't have to chat with us, but just know that it's there for you if you want to join the conversation as we go live. And if you're watching on the archive and you want to join the conversation afterwards, leave us a comment after you like the video you're watching.
Dom, we had about 10 people on at one point, and it was just wallflowers, and it was just
very good.
And it was the Fixer talking. It's me, you, Fixer talking, and then 9 wallflowers. So pretty good.
Nothing wrong with an audience.
Yeah, they were just nothing wrong with that. Well, I'll tell you what. I want to thank you so much for coming, Fixer. Appreciate it. Dom, as always, thank you for joining me tonight. It's always helpful. Great job with Cheap Heat, and great job giving the thumbs down tonight. I appreciate that out of you.
Great job trashing the show we spent 3 hours watching.
Yeah, no, keep it real. So yeah, my name is John Zindell. This is Dom Scarcella. We're going to be signing off. So Really appreciate everyone that joined in tonight and very active comment, very active live stream. And have a great rest of your evening.